Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
arrived. To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is the 22nd of October. Right there we got our our moon sign, and we could see tomorrow we've got to change it to sun sign. Today's the last day that we're going to be in the sun sign of Libra. Tomorrow we're going to make a change, and today we are in the moon sign of right here Gemini. So we have Libra and Gemini. Okay, both Libra and Gemini are air signs. Today is a double air day. Both Libra and Gemini give the idea of balance and learning to, be in balance with the things that we say and the things that we do. It's important with the Gemini and the communications that we have in the world, and it is also equally important with this Libra we've been dealing with, making sure that we find our way to some sort of balance, and we find our way around the things that hurt us, the things that we say and the things that we do to hurt us, to do the things and say the things that only are beneficial and helpful to us. Alright, so that's what's going on today. Tomorrow we got a transition, but we're not there yet. Over at the moon phase, we're already at 87% of the way full, making our way back down to the new moon. The Mayan Oracle, we are at a 5-tone day in the wave spell of the star. The symbol for today is right here, the human. That's the kin, or the daily symbol. The guide is the sun, and the tone is the 5-tone, the overtone. So today, as this says, it's yellow overtone human. So yellow because of the color, overtone because of the tone here, and human, guided by the sun. And the phrase for today is, I empower in order to influence, commanding wisdom. I seal the process of free will with the overtone, tone of radiance. I am guided by the power of universal fire. If we go over to space weather, our solar wind is 319.1 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is in the 2s at the moment. So we've got today's the 22nd, and look at this, we got a 2 and a 2. A little synchronicity going on right there. Not much in the way of coronal holes that we see there, but we do still have the residual of what was sent out prior to today. M-class possibilities jump back up to 30%. Was at 25 yesterday. M-class has jumped up as well from 1 to 5. And geomagnetic storm activity is, status quo, pretty low. If we go over to here, we got our suspicious observers report for today.
Good morning, folks. Thanks for your kind wishes yesterday and the patience from website members only getting one evening news the last 3 days. We're back in 6th gear. You're watching an older animation here from NASA, the Goddard Scientific Visualization Studio. Veteran observers know we like to compare them to NOAA's similar group. I've put both animation sites in today's links as NOAA has just come out with this new one. They are constantly measuring the yearly growth and dissipation of the Antarctic ozone hole. It allegedly peaked late in September. This is from the Environmental Visualization Laboratory. Shots of Ison for the day actually is multiple turned into an animation. This is on spaceweather.com's gallery, and I'd like to note the increasing brightness of the comet, although Bruce Gary no longer believes it was due to that aforementioned outburst. Coming to the coast of Mexico, where Raymond may be about to leave, but until then, the coastlines are being significantly affected, and the shear to the north is driving enormous amounts of moisture northeast across the Gulf states. It's where it meets that cold air still streaming south from Canada, Alberta Clipper style. Lorenzo is not currently a threat out in the Atlantic. In Europe, the convergence line leading these lows dropped some tornadoes in France. The precipitation in southeast Australia was desperately needed, but is now about to move on. Solar wind telemetry reveals a density increase this morning. We are still awaiting that coronal hole stream, so be on watch for a speed ramp after the density falls. The Earth-facing sunspots are fairly impressive. On the south we have a massive umbra leading a magnetically moderate group that has not done much yet. Same could be said up north until this morning. We have 2 delta spots up there, perhaps even a third trying to develop. That's the flare maker, and they did just that, firing an M-class solar flare this morning just as that large Earth-facing filament up north destabilized and released. Stereo B shows most of that blast missed Earth. Various surface ejecta events over the last 24 hours, though, have caused NOAA to suggest a minor interplanetary shock in 2 days. I do expect the coronal hole stream to be blowing then, making impact barely noticeable. Outward magnetic force of our star, somewhat mitigated by blocking coronal and umbral fields. The northern opening will face Earth today. Power could be affected by that Filament eruption, but as of now, the trend is increasing force. Had a volcanic eruption at the Kamchatka Peninsula, and we're still taking unusual location rumbles, especially in the Atlantic. Space weather could be ramping soon, and more planetary conjunctions are a few days away. Shots of our star, JPL, and precip maps to close. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
All right. Let's move on from here. All right, today I want to do an update on Ison, what's going on with Ison, because, there's been a lot of speculation. What's going to happen with this? There were those who said that it was going to be the Comet of the Century. Remember when NASA first came out, NASA says Comet of the Century. And then over this last year, since it's been said, things have kind of changed. There's been a lot of speculation what's going on. And then we had people saying it's not going to get brighter, it's dimming out, and guess what? It's getting brighter. So people really don't know what's going on with it. They're watching, they're speculating. We've heard the stories about the possible object in there that could be a ship or a craft. We've heard the stories that could be a planetary body. You've heard the stories that it could be an asteroid. So we're not exactly sure what it is. And then, of course, at the same time, we've got Ison going on coming from one direction. We have this other object coming in from the west, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But for right now, this is BP Earthwatch, and this is an update on Ison. Here we go.
October 18, 2013. Guys, this is the newest Hubble image that we saw in the video last night. And we're over on Bruce Geary's website out of Arizona. Guys, he's a retired astronomer. He has a BS out of University of Michigan in astronomy. He also worked for JPL. But here he's talking about this video that we saw last night in the image. He said he describes it, says that the image pairs are joined to provide a larger field of view. An image public release, and this was by the people at the Hubble group, states that the tail appears redder than the coma. It says a 56-minute web video chat involved several astronomers. It was hosted there. It says they did it to discuss the image. I don't recommend watching it, he said, partly because most of the participants were unprofessional, childishly giddy, and dismissive of lay people, but also because the information rate was quite low. Now, you can pause this and read it, but he goes on to talk about that the jet was a major topic, and it was for me also. He says that they were talking about different models, one that wouldn't work, and talking about, obviously, that was one of the things that was on their giddy minds. So it wasn't just me, guys, and it wasn't just you. It seemed ridiculous. Now, Bruce took the layered image, and this is one of the graphics that he did, multicolor. And he talks about that usually NASA won't release an image that you can manipulate like that, but he was going to try it with this one since he could do it. But now, I don't know if Bruce saw the one that I got that was the raw image, But this says my false color contrast enhancement of the 10th image that was released on October 17th. He said, I'm sure NASA and STSCI hate to release TIFF and FITS images because they can be manipulated. But they released it and I enhanced it. I see no evidence for a jet in this image, and that's the position of Dr. Jin Yang Lee, who found a jet in his April image. This causes me to question Tony Scarmato's image processing procedure that finds a jet in all images studied, including October 5th, 11th, and 12th. Now he says, could the jet have been pulled in away from Earth during the observation? It makes sense, except that the raw images show a jet. If so, it wouldn't show up on the above images, but if the jet isn't pointed towards the sun, then there must have been a change in the comet's rotational pole orientation since May. Goes on to talk about that. One of the things here, guys, he's stating, he says, I'm defining the inner coma as having a diameter of 60,000 kilometers, not the outer coma. But here, this is the newest report, and it's what I'm taking from it. But this is some of the information on this page with the latest RMAG versus date compared with the model. Again, he's the best I've seen cover this that's releasing any information. I'm going to link to his website. Now, these are the latest zoomed-in images of Secchi A with Ison coming in. Now, it's kind of blurred. I had to enhance the brightness somewhat and change the color to pull Ison in. But there where the arrow is, you can see it come through. Again, that's about 3 days worth of images, so you're looking at about 6 million miles that it traveled there. Again, that's as clear as we can get it at this time. The closer it gets to the sun, the brighter it will become. Bring it up a little bit. It's hard to zoom it much further than this, guys, and I have to brighten it almost to over-pixelate the stars. Now, this is a very interesting ground-based image. I'm going to go through the different colors on it. I want you to take a look. One thing in the front, the bright light remains constant in the very front image, regardless of what I do. Could be because of forward jetting from just that object, not the main jet that we've seen. But there's an opening in this blue comma that would fit about where that jet would be. Again, this is ground-based as I go through these temperatures. That front object, that remains constant. Now here, if you look at this, you've got one object in the front with two smaller ones on either side. And the jets of those two objects are in different directions, as if they're rotating around it. Just an observation. That's all I'm saying. Right there, if you take a look at that. Again, this is ground-based images. These are not Hubble space. Sometimes with what we're getting released, we're better off with these, to be honest with you. As I go through this color on this thing. Again, I'm going to bring it up with the coolest temperatures. There. But there's some interesting things I want to point out. There, again, that front object remains constant as we go through. I'm going through all the temperatures. Now, this is the new Hubble image. On the left is a May image. On the right is a May image showing the forward jet, not pointed out the front, but off center to the right. You see that, guys? Now, why on the one on the left in the blue is so layered you can't see it, but obviously it's there in the single image. Now, if you look at the top, October 8th, they layered it just the same way. But if you were to look at the blue image, you would say it didn't have a jet then until you look at the single image. Now, this is yesterday's raw Hubble image before they layered all their different stacks on it to try to get rid of the background noise and to cover up any details we could get. But there's a couple things here that's interesting to me. One, the front object seems to be jetting. And I'm not talking about in the very point, I'm talking about this larger red very front. We've seen it since the beginning. And it's jetting off at an angle that's very similar to the jet that we see in that Hubble image from May. Again, these are October 17th images here. This is that new Hubble image without the overlay. Now, I'm going to back this out and let's look at this tail. And again, I've had several more hours to examine this image. I'm going to look back at May at the forward jet. This is, again, a single image that has not been manipulated. It can't be covered up. It's not a lie. There's kind of the angle again from the direction of the solar stream from the sun compared to the angle of the forward jet. Now, this is backed way off you. And if that inner coma is 60,000 kilometers, then the outer coma has to be at least 4 times that, guys. So you're looking at nearly 250,000 kilometers for the outer coma. But that's not unheard of before with comets. But here, what I'm looking at in that front object that's red, then you have the very sharp point that we're looking at here. And it's either the forward jet or it has separated and there's a lead section of this moving forward. And we've seen that with Ison. It had 2 comets smaller than it come into the sun right before it, leaded in a perfect path. And again, I'm just trying to make observations here, guys, on what we're seeing. Heads up.
All right, so I'll continue to scour and find things on Ison as it continues, because we're just a little bit more than a month away from when it's supposed to make its pass around the sun. Actually going to come around and do one of these deals and go back out. And then the real fun begins, because that's when it's going to be intersecting with Earth about a month after that. So the excitement is just beginning. All right, UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today we have 5 stories. First story comes to us from Berea, Ohio. This was on the 10th. These are unknown lights flying across the sky of Berea, a city in Cuyahoga County in the U.S. of Ohio. This was taken on the 10th of October. Okay, this is what we're looking at there, and it says, witness reports. I was driving home and I saw 20 to 30 of these lights in the sky look like a meteor shower. But the lights were roughly 3 groups of 10 or so objects that then moved in perfect formation at the same speed, no trails from them like you see a meteor shower. They were just falling. They were traveling. Alright, so this is kind of the objects in question there that we're going to be seeing. Alright, let's see what we have here. Okay, there we go. There's our object just like above. Okay, nice point of reference there. Nice shot. It's a whole group of them, huh? And you said he saw 20 to 30 of these things in the sky. Alright, let's move on from here to the next one. This is a UFO passing in front of the moon. It was taken from Kingston, Australia on the 15th. There's our moon. Here's the little object in question there. The object was visible, this time very high altitude. Alright. It's an 8-minute and 56-second video from Laszlo Novak, who, as you know by now, is a UFO researcher who gets a lot of great footage from out there. He's very dedicated to the cause, and we get a lot of good stuff from him. Alright, so we're seeing a lot of the similar ones still. We're not seeing anything new, well, except for the flying Batman that was over Chile. That was different. Okay, let's move on from there. Here we have a colorful UFO over the Gulf of Mexico in Florida. It says, I filmed this UFO around 8 p.m. in Sarasota, Florida, near the Gulf of Mexico with a Canon power shot. I've already ruled out Venus, Antares, Mercury, Jupiter. Okay. So this is in regards to... Oh, well, no, this isn't in regards to that. This is just a UFO sighting. Alright, there's object in question. Nice, good blinking one. Alright, nice, good shot there. Now, this was in the eastern sky. This wasn't in the western sky, so it's not, doesn't appear to be the same object that others have been seeing. We're going to get to that one though. Okay. So there's this one here. Let's move on to the next one. Next we have over Miami, Florida, a sphere with 900 millimeter focal length scope. This was taken on the 18th. Okay, that's what we're going to be looking for. There's a little object right there. Alright, so what we've got here is what's a 2.5 minute video. Alright, a little discussion of what was used. And there we go, object in question. Seems to be an interesting kind of trail of light that seems to be coming from the bottom of there. See that? That's quite interesting. Wonder what that is. Alright. And here it's going to enter the cloud, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging to see as it gets here. Okay, it's like right. Pretty difficult to see now, but it's passing through, and there it is. It's out of the cloud now. Alright, and one more story. This is blue lights hovering above Phoenix, Arizona on the 20th. New amazing video footage of a bright blue UFO recorded in the night sky above Phoenix, Arizona on the 20th. On the way home driving, I looked up and thought I saw a blue light pulsating in the sky. Thought my eyes might be tricking me. As I kept looking, it got brighter and it started to play it as if it could tell I noticed it. It started pulsing brighter and hovering back and forth. I took a photo while in the vehicle. I noticed another vehicle pulling over, looking up at the object as well, so I wasn't seeing things. I pulled over, shot a quick video, and then left for the house. It frightened me, and I felt as if I was watching it. It was sort of, alright. So that was the video there. Let me just, one more time. There's our object. Alright. Nice blue object there. Alright. That is our UFO news. I have a lot more news coming up, so stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
Alrighty, I'm back. Now, first story up here has to do with CISPA. Remember CISPA? Well, it's back. You thought it was dead, didn't you? You thought that they weren't going to try this anymore? Ha! They keep trying and they keep trying. They just kind of let things lay low because they figure that Americans have a short attention span, and after a short while Americans will forget about these things and then they can go and try it again. But there are people that are watching because maybe they are not paying attention in Washington, but there are people that are paying attention, even though there are many that aren't. This comes from Mother Jones. It says, CISPA zombie bill is back with fewer privacy concerns. Maybe? Senator Dianne Feinstein said the new version of the controversial cybersecurity bill will include tight limitation on what kind of information is shared. This summer, when Edward Snowden dropped his bombshell about PRISM, the NASA's vast internet spying program, the House had recently passed a bill called Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act, otherwise known as CISPA. Widely criticized by privacy advocates, CISPA aimed to beef up U.S. cybersecurity by giving tech companies the legal freedom to share even more cyber information with U.S. government, including the content of Americans' emails, with personal information intact. CISPA's supporters, among them big U.S. companies such as Verizon and Comcast, spent 140 times more money on lobbying for the bill than its opponents, according to the Sunlight Foundation. But after Snowden's leaks, Public panic over how and why the government uses personal information effectively killed the bill. Now that the dust has settled a bit, NSA Director Keith Alexander is publicly asking for legislation to be reintroduced, and 2 senators confirmed that they are drafting a new Senate version. So here we go. Remember this name, traitor. Keith Alexander. He's an NSA Director, and he's a traitor to the United States of America. Okay? NSA Director Keith Alexander, you are a traitor to the United States of America. You are involved with treason. Just go to jail. Okay? That way America doesn't have to, take any actions against you to, to put you in jail. Just go yourself, okay? Anyway. Says he's asking to put this reintroduced. He says, I'm working with Senator Saxy Chambliss on a bipartisan legislation to facilitate the sharing of cyber-related information among companies and with the government and to provide protection from liability. Senator Dianne Frankenstein of California told Mother Jones in a statement, the legislation will still maintain necessary private protections. NSA's Alexander threw his weight behind this kind of bill in September. If we can't work with industry, if we can't share information with them, we can't stop cyber attacks, he told the Washington Post. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we got a couple of traitors. We know that Dianne Feinstein is nothing but a liar. And we know that this guy, NSA Director, we're not going to believe anything he says because the NSA has been spying on everybody. They've been spying on France. They've been spying on Mexico. Mexico and France isn't happy about this. They're trying to find out, if you remember the stories from yesterday. Again, our government is out of freaking control. Okay? If our government was a little child, it would be put over our knee and spanked and then sent to bed without any supper, or maybe made to stand in the corner for some time. But I don't know what's going on with these guys. They seem to be doing all kind of nonsense, and nobody in Washington seems to care. You know why? Because nobody in Washington really cares about the people they're supposed to. And that's a shame, because they went there to protect you. Unfortunately, that's not really what's happening. Now, here's a story that unbelievable to some. This is a child porn net that was put out there, okay? And you're not going to believe who was caught up in it. Check this out. 90 police, hundreds of child welfare professionals, including police officers, care workers, and teachers, have been identified as extremely high-risk pedophiles by an investigation into internet porn. The discovery came after U.S. authorities passed more than 7,000 names of UK subscribers to an American-based child porn website. When the police examined the sample of the most dedicated users, they discovered that many worked with children. Investigators knew pedophiles targeted jobs, which brought them into contact with children, but were shocked by how many British suspects has been undetected by the usual checks. The discovery that many were working in jobs of the highest sensitivity will send shockwaves through the child protection world and lead to calls for even more stringent safeguards. Investigators now believe as many as 90 police officers have been identified from an initial trawl of 200 of the British names found in the U.S. Many other suspects work in sensitive professions, often linked to the criminal justice system. John Carr of the Children's Charities Coalition for Internet Safety, otherwise known as CISPA, which represents all major children organizations, including the NSPCC, NCH in Barbados, said it's very disturbing to learn that so many policemen are being arrested for these sorts of offenses. It undermines people's confidence in our ability to deal with them at all. While our confidence in the police department has been undermined by the very fact that the police officers that are out there, the good guys in the police officers, are failing to turn in the bad guys. So there's only one thing we can assume from that. Two things. Either A, number one, you're chicken, you're afraid of them, or you're complicit in their activities. Because if you're not turning in the bad guys, then you're obviously in agreement with them. Henceforth, we have a corrupt police force across this country, and as we hear, they're being militarized. And again, to the police of this country, I'm going to give you another opportunity to pay attention here. You are being used. You are being used by your United States government, and you're going to be put between the people and the government to protect the criminals. It's unfortunate because you're being put in a very precarious situation. We have already seen examples of this when there was that protest that took place out in Washington, and you saw they marched all those police out in front of the White House. Didn't take very long till the people shamed them away from there, okay? Things are going to happen like this more and more. People have turned their back on the police because we know that you police have turned your back on us, okay? We don't care about you because we know you don't care about us. And it's sad because there are those in your forces that are good people. It's too bad that we can't trust the good people, because if you really were a good person, if you really were a good officer, I'd imagine you would turn in the bad guys, especially since you went into the force to turn in the bad guys. But not everybody goes into the force for that, do they? No, they don't. I know people go into the police force for all kind of crazy reasons. Sometimes so they can carry a gun. Sometimes so they can beat people up legally. Every now and then you have an officer goes through that wants to be in the police force so he can fight crime. But that's rare these days. More than likely it's someone who can fight against the American people. These are the real cowards in life. If you remember during Nuremberg and all the Nazi things, it was those forces that went along that imprisoned the people to help maintain the control over the people. Same thing. So our police force are being used and are going to continue to be used like Nazi soldiers were, like brown shirts were. They're going to be used to be put between the people and the government. Police officers, you better wake up because you're being used. Don't put yourself between the people and the government. Don't protect the criminals. They're thugs. They're criminals. They're hurting you and they're hurting your families. Unfortunately, at this point, you don't realize that yet because you got your head so far up the government's backside that you're not paying attention. But one day, the very things, the very crimes that you are protecting are going to come around and they're going to affect you and your family. And that'll be a sad day for you because then you'll realize that you could have stopped that had you stopped some of the crimes early on. Had you actually done your job as a police officer rather than just wearing a uniform and going eating donuts all day and disrespecting people in the community. Do your job. But if not, I don't care because I know you're going to caught between the people, and I know the people, they're not going to stand for that. So you're putting yourself on the wrong side. If you're a police officer, please think about what you're doing. Please side with the people and quit protecting the criminals. I know that I and all other Americans and people around the world would appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement for officers. Hopefully we'll find someone that care. All right, did you hear about the feigning that took place yesterday? Yes, there was a weird thing that happened yesterday. During Obama's speech, there was this woman. Let me go over here to show you. This woman right here, well, she had this experience where she fainted, or almost fainted. And then the president grabbed her to show what a great guy he was to save her. Well, I'm going to play a portion of this. I'm not going to play the whole thing here. But I want you to see that there's something about this which is not natural, something that seems staged. Okay? I'm not the only one who sees it. There's others who see this and thinks this is kind of weird. So look at this. See what you think. Here we go.
Man, what is that stuff y'all be watching? What is it called? The news? Y'all follow the presidential elections? You know, that stuff is fake, right? And here go your boy Obama, fake it in an $18 bill. We got the scene set up here. We got all these people. Look at him. This man just, I'm so honored to be standing behind the president. Get on somewhere. Pay attention to this lady right here looking sick as heck while your boy Obama is talking about, guess what? Obamacare. Oh, how convenient. Yeah, he's trying to sell everybody the lie of Obamacare, trying to make it sound good or whatever. Camera is key. Understand why they have it like this. I'm going to show you why. Let it play.
To lift from the American people the crushing burden of unaffordable health care.
I don't even want health care. Why you keep trying to sell me health care? I don't have it now, and I don't want it later on. Get on somewhere with that.
To free families from the pervasive fear that...
All right. So now the camera changes. Oh, check this out. Why does the camera change at this angle?
One illness.
Because Obama had to save the day. Look at that. He done saved the day. Like right when the camera changed, this man did it. I bet that was on the teleprompter.
Now, did you happen to notice Did you happen to notice in this moment here, it was right here, let me back this up, when he says illness, and then, because she's looking at something, okay? Everyone else is looking at the president. She's paying attention to something else over here, and he's going to turn, and he's going to say the word illness, and at that point, watch again. Let me back up here a little bit further.
To lift from the American people the crushing burden of unaffordable health care.
I don't even want health care. Why you keep trying to sell me health care? I don't have it now, and I don't want it later on. Get on somewhere with that.
To free families from
Okay, you can see the woman's already teetering. So what is she out there to begin with?
All right. So now the camera changes. Oh, check this out. Why does the camera change at this
Okay,
angle?
here, now listen for illness.
one illness.
Because Obama had to save the day. Look at that. He done saved the day. Like right when the camera changed, this man did it. I bet that was on the teleprompter. Turn around, save the day. Man, you like a real Superman. Where is your cape? Your fake self. Let it play.
I got you.
I got you.
No, you're okay.
You're okay.
This happens when I talk too long.
Now this
This
girl
happens
here,
when I talk too long. Yeah.
supposedly almost
Surprised
fainted.
everybody ain't falling out like that.
This girl didn't even turn to really pay attention, but for some reason she's holding her hand the whole time.
Come on
There
now.
she goes. Now she's going to be let off, and everyone's just
Come on
going to
now.
move back into place. It's all one nice big thing.
What next? Oh, there we go. Yeah, clap for the show. Clap for
Good
the
catch,
show.
by the way, whoever was here.
Colleagues in
And if you thought that was something, no, see, that's not the first time that happened.
Washington, she is an outstanding Congresswoman, Congresswoman Diane Watson. Give it up for her.
Sorry about the video quality.
We need, if we have a medic, if we have somebody, I think we may have somebody outside. Somebody just fell. They probably fell a little bit faint.
Faint.
Are you
Faint.
okay? We need
okay?
some water. Is somebody still on the ground?
Get them some water.
Okay.
All these people trying to get up there.
Can somebody get them some water? Is she okay?
We're out
Here we go
of
again.
combat by next year. Do we have somebody who fainted?
Uh-oh.
Hold on, we got somebody who's sick.
Uh-oh. Dr. Obama.
Can we get somebody?
Can we get somebody?
We got medical attention coming.
Hey, we got it coming. Obama got you.
All right, make some space for her and let her lie down.
Space. That's right. Every time, make some space. Here we go again.
We've got somebody down here.
Hey, you can barely
Do we already have the paramedic coming? Okay. Are you a paramedic right here? Okay, why don't you let her slide through? Sorry for the interruption, guys.
Same stuff.
If you're clear about your
Here we go
principles,
again.
is somebody okay?
Uh-oh. Somebody
Did
okay?
somebody just get faint?
Somebody just get faint.
Make sure, give them a little space. All right.
Man,
They're just a little overheated.
that's all.
Make sure that they get some water.
Look at this, man. This is so pathetic, man. Why are you going out of your way to make it look like you're caring, such a caring individual? You don't have to be, what the heck, man?
Somebody got a bottle of water?
So,
You got
uh-oh.
Here.
Oh.
Right here.
Right here.
You got some water?
Dr. Obama got
Hey, guys.
We got
Ready?
some water.
All right, that's about enough. That's about enough of that, right? Okay. There's a couple more examples of same type of thing. Did somebody faint? Make room for her. You're going to be okay. They're a paramedic. You got some water. And there's another time where he has some water. But then at the very end of this video, there's another one of these, and the very last one closes with Hillary Clinton. And she does exactly the same routine. As a matter of fact, she's facing one direction and then flips around. Almost does like a 180-degree turn and turns around and looks. Somebody just faint? Make room for her. You're going to be okay. I mean, it's silly. It's the same thing over and over. So either people keep fainting at this and it's a real thing, or we kind of say these are weird coincidences that people keep fainting when they're at these events for Obama. I don't know. Really weird. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. Remember, things are not always as they appear to be. Now, here's something else that's not as it appears to be. We've got this battle that goes on, right, between Republicans and Democrats. And the big battle that goes on is a joke, because there's Democrat and Republican that are set up, but behind the scenes there's one common goal, one common party, the Federal Reserve. They're the ones who are pushing the buttons for all of these politicians around the world. So we have this game where we have, I like to think of the Republicans and Democrats as like two sheepdog that keep wrangling people in. Okay? If you get too far to this side, the sheepdog comes and pushes you in this way. The Republicans tell you, get back to the center. If you get too far this way, the Democrat come in and tell you this way. And the news and the media keeps going, and it just pushes people forward, right? So we don't know who the good guys are and who the bad guys, because we see those in there saying they're helping us, they're for our best interest. Well, we hear a lot of stuff about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is out for the American people. Ted Cruz is, this guy we want. Did you know that Ted Cruz's wife works for Goldman Sachs right here? Heidi Cruz, Vice President of Goldman Sachs. Okay, we go down further. She worked with Bush Cheney as an economic advisor. She was involved with economic policy with Bush Cheney. She worked for the National Security Council, the White House, now Goldman Sachs. Isn't Goldman Sachs part of the problem we're having right now? And isn't Goldman Sachs, we're heard, is associated with Obama? But now we have Goldman Sachs associated with Ted Cruz, and he's supposed to be on the other side, the Republican. You see how the lines are blurred? It's a game. It's trying to see if people aren't paying attention, but too many people are, and now this is getting around there. So people have to say, okay, he's great, he's fighting one fight to make it look like, yay, he's on our side, but is he really? Is he really on our side? Don't know. It's hard to tell these days. So many lies and corruptions coming out of there. Can't trust them, and I don't think that they should expect people to trust them at all. All right, let's move on here. This is a piece on Alex Collier. It's a 5-minute piece in which he talks about this. It's part 19 of part 24, and he talks about 4 and 5D world. Here we go.
According to the Andromedans, December 3rd, 2013 AD, we will be in fifth density. That's graduation day. That's where you get your cap and your gown and your diploma.
And we're physically going to be lighter? Is that it? Or
our physical bodies will turn into light.
It's not too far off.
Do you ever have an out-of-body experience? Or a dream state? A color dream when you know you're in the dream?
Yes.
And you have your physical body with you? That's what it's going to be like. You'll be able to go anywhere you want just by thought.
Teleport.
Yeah. You will know everything about everybody else. You'll be able to walk up, shake this gentleman's hand, and the minute our hands touch, he will know everything about me. I will know everything about him. And he will know whether I'm a real person or not, or whether I'm full of baloney.
How do we assure ourselves that we can...
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, how do we assure ourselves that we can evolve? Is there certain guidelines we have to have? Or,
it's a decision.
Yeah.
Do you love yourself? Do you love everything about yourself?
I'm trying to.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
That's the reason we're all still here. That's why we're all still here. Until we can honestly say with complete integrity, I truly love myself, then we're done. Then it's done. And that's a hell of a lesson. That's a hell of a lesson. Because we have so many lifetimes of conditioning. So many lifetimes of conditioning. And it's just time to let it go. And move into a space of who do you want to be? And then create it. I mean, there's nothing we can't make. There's nothing we can't create in our lives. Nothing. We can manifest terrible things happening to our lives. We can just as easily manifest wonderful things. But we think it's easier to create the negative things because the world tells us it's easier. Through the conditioning, the programming, the crime, all of that.
I've heard that the reptilians feed off our fear. Is that true?
The Greys do and the Orions do. The reptilians tend to live off the flesh. that's not an area I like to go into much. But according to the Andromedans, the last 25 years, the reptilians that are on the planet are responsible for over 30,000 children disappearing. I get in a lot of trouble when I talk in UFO circles about this. You can't talk about that, Alice. Why not? In Westchester County, New York, in the last 3 years, 5,000 children have disappeared without a trace.
In New York?
Westchester County, New York. George Andrews, E.T. Friends and Foes, he's got a huge section in his book on that.
Why is there so much activity?
And nobody wants to talk about it. You know, denial is the dragon we all have to slay right now. It isn't Lucifer, it isn't Satan, it's denial. Denial of our own divinity and responsibility. Yes, sir.
Is it the missing people or children who disappeared, is it just Draconians, or are there other races taking children just for other purposes to take them back?
Greys have done extensively taken children as well. A lot of them are on their motherships. A lot of the children were taken to Phobos, which is also an artificial satellite. And they've been experimented on. On the planet as a whole, over 100,000 people a year vanish without a trace. On the planet. They figure 25,000 in the United States on an average. Just disappear without a trace.
What about adults? If adults, if they're free spirits, they can't touch you as free spirit, or can they?
As a free spirit?
Yeah, in other words, the way I understand you're saying that some of these people can't bother you, you know.
They can't own your soul. They can't, no. The soul's eternal, you know, but your soul's in this physical form.
Right.
You know, and that's easy to cart around.
Well, who picks these, I mean, not dragons, but these Tyrians? Do they have people like us who go away to these children? They sort of can't come 8 miles up. They can't get them on the earth.
All right. So very weird indeed about the children and disappearance. Now, do you think there's a coincidence between the reptilians and the children, and then we hear the stories of all our police officers and people involved? I don't think there's any coincidence. I think that we have a lot of dark entities that are involved with police and government work, and definitely involved with reptilian energies. We certainly hear the stories of it over and over and over. Reptilian shapeshifters in the government. I think they're all around. I think they're in our media. I think they're all around. If you recall, remember Roddy Piper? He in the movie They Live. Well, one of the recent things he's tweeting is that it wasn't a movie, that it was a documentary. Very interesting of him to say, and something food for thought. All right, here is a short video. It's the 00 Skyview team, and this is dealing with this object in the western sky. I don't know if you've seen this or not yet. If you haven't, go out just when it gets to be sunset and look southwest and kind of look low in the horizon, and you will see an object out there that is extremely bright. As a matter of fact, if you look before the sun even goes down, the sky is still light enough where you can't see any stars, but you will see this object as bright as can be. Bright as can be, and then certainly as it gets darker, it's a lot brighter then, but right around the time the sun goes down, okay? In California here, it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock within that time frame. So if you're on the West Coast, you want to check there. If you're in other time zones, just adjust accordingly. But go out and look, and you will see something in the sky if you haven't seen it already. Anyway, this is there's a lot of speculation on what this is, and this is some interesting info on that regard. Okay, so what we have here. All right, so it says, for the past year we've been talking about a strange object outside of Neptune, an object we believe originated in the Kuiper Belt. Let the blinders be removed. All right, so this is a little study on what's out there. It says Aquila. Aquila is a constellation in the northern sky. The name is Latin for eagle. Look in the western sky at 8 o'clock. This position will be right to the right of Neptune, constellation Aquarius, and to the left of Arcturus, the constellation Bootes. The sky map will help you to locate the object. It shows the zone we've been looking in. Alright. So here's where we're looking. Alright, we've got this object. Alright, and a lot of people are seeing this, and it appears to be moving. Some people say they see it getting larger. But it's very fascinating. I've been seeing this since the end of August. That's when I first noticed it up there. Actually, I think I noticed it before. Maybe like a month or two before, but it really didn't grab my attention, you know, till a little bit later on, till into August. Alright, so a lot of good research being done here on this. Okay. And the nice thing is that amateur astronomy is really doing a great job, because we're not able to trust what's going on with programs like NASA and government programs, because, well, they don't give the information. But this is something that I've shown you the pictures people are seeing up there. So what is that red thing? Is it just something hanging there? Is it a ship hanging there? Is this the red Kachina? What is it? People don't know. People are looking and not sure. But yes, it's not Comet Ison, because Comet Ison is coming from a different place, different direction. Alright, so links available. You can check it out, see what you think. But it's up there, and I guarantee if you go out tonight, you will see it. You will see it, and try to take a picture of it. Alright, this story here is about the 10 Commandments. It said the oldest known 10 Commandments is in America, in ancient Hebrew script from the time of King Solomon. On November 1860, David Wyrick of Newark, Ohio, found an inscribed stone in Burial Mound about 10 miles from Newark. The stone is inscribed on all sides with a condensed version of the 10 Commandments, or Decalogue, in a particular form of post-exilic square Hebrew letters. The robed and bearded figure on the font is identified as Moses in letters fanning over his head. Alright, there's another shot there. Look at that. So this is the Yahweh keystone written in ancient block. Hebrew found in Newark. The Ohio Indian mounds. Alright. And then here's this other tablet here with 10 Commandments. Pretty fascinating, huh? Right here in the good old US of A. So how did it get here? It's a good question. Alright. It says, welcome to the location of the oldest known 10 Commandments, the only place on earth where the name of God is found, having been written into a stone altar dedicated to Him, and the first place of worship established to the biblical God in America. South of Albuquerque and west of Los Lunos, New Mexico, an ancient inscription was carved into the face of a boulder. Centuries ago, it is the text of the 10 Commandments written in Hebrew. Of particular interest is the fact that this type of Hebrew written was used was Paleo-Hebrew, which is the form of Hebrew writing that was used for approximately 1,000-year period ending about 500 BC. This means that we can fairly conclude that the inscription of the 10 Commandments was engraved on the face of a boulder in New Mexico, North America, sometime prior to 500 BC. The Holy One of Israel led colonies of righteous Israelites to the land of America prior to the destruction of Jerusalem and the Babylonian dispersion that occurred about 587 BC. Harvard scholar Robert Pfeiffer, an expert in Semitic language, concluded that the mysterious inscription was written in the form of Paleo-Hebrew and paraphrased the 10 Commandments. Alright, and there we go. There's more to the story. Quite fascinating indeed. Alright, next up, this is a message. High Council of Orion. Here we go.
Channeled Ascension message from the High Council of Orion, October 16, 2013.
Channeled by Holly Hawkins Marwood, transcribed by Paul Marwood.
Your breath and your connection to Source.
Greetings, dear ones. We are the High Council of Orion. Before we begin, we ask that each one of you take that nice deep breath in for yourself, allowing the air that surrounds you to fill your lungs. Allow it to infuse greater level of oxygen into your body, yet understanding always that it is your breath, which is your connection between your spirit and your human existence. For when your spirit no longer animates your human existence, the breath stops. Or if the breath stops, the spirit, the soul, loses its connection with the physical body. So understanding that your breath is integral to your incarnation, and it's also integral to your connection with the spiritual realms and the realms beyond. Now that you've taken that moment to take some nice beautiful breaths for yourself, we ask you to tune in at the moment with how you feel as you allow yourself to breathe into your presence. Breathe into the current moment in which you exist. We're going to talk more about the breath today and your connection with your awareness of the now. Your breath is your ability to help you stay in your current moment. Your breath is an exercise or expression of your ability to actually bring new information in. So this is a fun and exciting exploration that we have not brought through before. As we mentioned a moment ago, the breath is this connection between soul and human experience. When you look at them as interconnected, they are also interdependent. For those many of you who are looking to the realms beyond, wanting to reach out to receive more from spirit, from higher sources, if you will, we ask you to do that by bringing awareness to your breath. So as you wish to connect through by thinking, through prayers, through meditation, through journaling, whatever it is, we ask that you begin to pay attention to your breathing and your breath. Before you ask, before you tune in, before you begin to write, allow yourself to really become present to your breathing. Allow yourself to feel your breathing in its fullest expression. For if you have been in your mind, if you've been in your everyday world, you may find that your breathing gets very shallow, as many say very much chest breathing. So the breathing we ask you to do is that breathing into your abdomen, breathing into the belly, so that they are the full breaths that as you breathe in you imagine the air flowing all the way down into the lowest parts of your abdomen. Clearly within your physicality it's limited to your lungs, but the idea that as you envision it filling your entire torso, you are expanding the fullness of the lungs and you transcend the stress, if you will, of the mind breathing, the shallow breathing. Just bring yourself to the awareness of the shift in the energy within your physical body as you begin to breathe deeply that way. The breathing is always present. It's always gentle. It's not a forced deep breath. It's a gentle breath, and as you practice this in any given session, if you will, the breathing might be a little bit shallower, in the next breath a little bit deeper, in the next breath as you feel more relaxed it's deeper and deeper until those belly breaths, the ones that fill your torso, come more easily and naturally to you. As you move to that place, bring your awareness to how your body feels. Then begin the point of asking for guidance, asking for connection and inspiration, again through prayer, through meditation, through journaling, in whatever way you connect with and receive your messages. Allowing those moments where you are deepening that exchange and interchange between the interface of the soul and the human experience through the breath opens up your energetic field to allow for more. As you practice this breathing experience, observe the shifts and changes in the messages you receive, the connection you feel, the inspiration you believe that you are receiving. Then, as you move throughout your day where you might not be in those conscious moments of asking for guidance and inspiration and information, allow yourself to consistently come back into awareness of your breathing even when you're in your workaday world. Take that moment to shift your breathing and move to that place of ease. For as you shift your awareness and begin to increase the way that you breathe and shift the way that you breathe, to allow those fuller breaths, you are increasing and expanding your connection with your soul, your connection to the higher realms, your connection to higher level inspiration. Have fun with this. And as always, be blessed. We are the High Council of Orion.
Alright, very nice. And let's go to our angel message for today. Angel message is, never fear that you are not good enough. There is nothing you can do, think, or say that would turn us away from you. Okay, this kind of falls in line with that idea of loving yourself, because if we love ourselves, we know that we're good enough. Okay, it's only when we get in a situation where we're not loving ourselves that we think otherwise. All right, meditation time. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Let's do one more. Hold it. And exhale. I want you to imagine in your mind's eye. I want you to imagine that you are looking at the universe, looking out in life, and that you're able to read the energy of life like you're reading a book. And as you read the energy of life, you're able to read the past energy waves that we have experienced. And as you read them, you're able to understand the lessons that we learned from these past experiences. And as you continue to look at the energies of life and read what's going on in the present, you see how we are all being affected, and we are learning many things right now. And then as we continue to read the energies, as we move forward, we see that the energies, the words that we find, the story of what is happening is exponentially more than what we've read in the past. It's as if every day more and more activities happen. And every day it is important for us to keep our minds and our hearts open, that we can process this information. We understand the importance of keeping our mind open, because we realize that there are events taking place in the cosmos beyond human comprehension, beyond that which planet Earth, the people of planet Earth, are talking about. So as we really focus our attention on where we are and where we're going, as we open our heart to these experiences, we find that the path before us seems to magically appear, showing us how we are to move, which way we are to go. We understand that there will be challenging times ahead. Challenges for the planet as she grows. Challenges for the beings of the planet as they grow. But through these challenges, we know that if we keep our hearts focused in the right place, if we keep our mind open, we will find ourselves guided along the path of smoothness. So let's imagine ourselves moving through life smoothly. And as we move through life, let's imagine ourselves seeing others who are doing exactly the same thing, moving through life in the same smooth manner, with their minds open and their hearts open to understanding what is taking place. And let's imagine us, as we move forward, all of us, along our path of destiny. Let us see us moving to a world filled with love and light, a world where there aren't any doubts or fears, a world where all of the darkness and negativity and the people who wish to cause harm are not allowed. Let us imagine this world and know that there are many, many good people upon this planet right now who want nothing more than to be living in a world of that kind of goodness. So let's imagine the world we live in right now and all of those people who are strong, and let's imagine them moving along the path. But let's imagine those who are weak and fearful. Let's imagine ourselves extending out to them, extending our hands and our words of encouragement to help them through the trying times, so that no one is left behind. And let's imagine us all around the planet holding hands, filled with love. And let's imagine the light of God shining down brightly upon us. Let's hold this thought and know that this is a possibility, and all we have to do is keep believing. And by believing, we will make it happen. So let's hold this thought in our mind as we go through the world today. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. And exhale. Go ahead and open your eyes. That's it. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your emails. I appreciate your comments and all the ways in which we interact. We've got the Facebook page out there. Don't forget there's this forum that I'm trying to get going here over at firstcontactradio.com. You can go in there. You can register for free. You can just add subjects and add stories and articles and things to the subjects that are there, so we can all participate in a big conversation. All right? That's it. You all have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll continue then. Peace. I'm out of here.